Avatar The Last Airbender is my favorite TV show for two reasons. The first reason is that I like it. It appeals to my preferences. I like its music, its style, its morals, fights, and locations. I like animation, and I like action animation. I like the show's philosophical questions and how it chooses to answer them, and I generally like shorter, more content-rich shows. The second reason is that Avatar is the best at being a TV show. It does so many things so well and so few things poorly that I would go so far as to say that all other TV shows ought to look towards it and take notes. Further, the things it excels at are fundamentally specific to how I would define a show as something different from other forms of storytelling. Avatar is the archetype, the best example of what makes good TV. In TV, writers have to think episodically, since a show is composed of individual episodes, but also serially, since the show also exists as a whole. Imagine it like a gradient spectrum. The more episodic something is, the less serialized it is, and vice versa. The less a show utilizes this nature, the more likely its status as a TV show is questioned, and vice versa. The archetypical show would therefore sit perfectly in the middle, fully embracing both aspects of this nature. Now, what about Avatar? Well, it is episodic, in that each episode is a self-contained story that begins and concludes in the same episode and that can be watched out of order without much confusion. But it's also serial, since every episode contributes information towards larger multi-episode stories. This means that Avatar strikes a balance which affords it the best of both worlds. It has every benefit of both the serial and episodic natures of television, and uses one concept's strengths to offset the weaknesses of the other. This isn't to suggest that all television ought to be 50-50 in this way. There are a lot of great shows that lean one way or the other, even ones that do certain things better than Avatar. Rather, it's more so that Avatar shows off the strengths of both elements at the same time. Episodic storytelling can at times feel shallow, and serial storytelling can at times feel bloated, but Avatar is neither. Pacing in storytelling refers to the speed at which the story progresses. The quality of the pacing refers to how well whatever speed is accomplished, not whatever speed is attempted. The goal of good pacing is to not have the audience notice it. A good story should flow efficiently and believably from moment to moment, immersing the viewer into it. The progression of events and changes in the characters should all feel natural, normal, and understandable. To achieve this, the story should consider every second spent, every moment, every beat. This means an ideal story has no filler, and lacks nothing it requires. It is neither too short nor too long, having exactly what it needs, no more nor less. It's difficult enough to do this in any story, but when TV shows are usually made over the course of years, with dozens of creative influences and thousands of moving parts, pacing becomes a game of five-dimensional chess played with a 1-second timer. By design, TV series are long, quickly generating tens of hours of content. It's inherently difficult to juggle that much time and plan it out well, especially considering non-creative interference, like production schedules or budgets. Pacing is the rarest thing to successfully be done well across the run of an entire TV show. Avatar is by far one of the leanest shows I've ever seen in regards to pacing. There's no filler, no retcons, no redundancies. Everything has a storytelling reason for being there. Every story within the story of The Last Airbender has a point to it, and they illustrate those points efficiently, effectively, and interconnectedly. Even the order of the episodes is paced well, with certain explanations and stories being told at exactly the right moments when the series needed them. Avatar sells a story that was made and published incrementally in 23-minute segments at a time over the course of 3 years, and not only are each of those 23-minute sections almost entirely digestible on their own, but when viewed as a whole, not a single one can be removed without the series' story suffering for it. Practically every story has characters, with most stories essentially just being the telling of the experiences of a particular character or characters. Most pros will tell you that the most important part of pitching a TV show is the characters. Avatar doesn't just have good characters, it's a show about its characters. Practically every part of the plot, every piece of exposition, every episode somehow is in service of informing the story of these characters. This is the root of the show's text as metaphor, since literally the plot is about a war, but metaphorically it's about how these characters grow and change throughout it. Every story in Avatar is designed to highlight something about a character and directly involves that character developing because of it. Even mechanical elements of the fiction, like how bending works, how the Avatar works, or how the spirit world works, are all in service to character development. Avatar: The Last Airbender excels at being a TV show because it excels in all the ways most specific to TV. The thing that's most unique to TV shows, the thing that's the hardest to do in TV shows, and the thing that's the most important part of TV shows are all pulled off well in Last Airbender. And that's why I say it's the best at being a TV show, and that's why I'm so confident in calling it my favorite.